And here we are live to dive into some Svengoolie. Let me say I've been waiting for the Museum of Broadcast Communications in Chicago to reopen, and the museum is back. So now we are back. The original material we covered of the Svengoolie exhibit at the museum. Oh, I see. Let me adjust my background already. Let me adjust my background just a little bit, trying some slightly different technologies for the backdrop. Okay. First time we took museum photos was roughly January 2022, which was then featured on the Fanboy Cantina channel for our first tribute that we did to Rich Koza's birthday for Svengoolie. And now here we are roughly 3 years later to come back. We got Evan Costello Meet Frankenstein on tonight. Hence, I'm going to have a little swig out of the Frankenstein. Super looking forward to Evan Costello Meet Frankenstein tonight on Svengoolie. But first, let's break down the museum exhibit and try to highlight some of the visuals there. So one of the first things we can see, and let me say, plenty of other good exhibits. We got a Johnny Carson tribute, a late night TV tribute, some Second City TV tributes to Chicago radio, including The Loop, FM 98, FM 97.9, a lot of good stuff. But we're here tonight to speak on Svengoolie. So let's go. One of the placards, one of the information banners there speaks on the story. Oh, now I just shrunk it a little bit. Here, see there. Well, there we go. Right, speaking on the props. But okay, here we go. Here we go. Talking about the influences from Rowan and Martin. Talking about the influence from Johnny Carson. Talking about Burbank to talking about Berwyn. Anyway, I've been anticipating and looking forward to and waiting for this day for, as I said, roughly 3 years till it was the right time to get back into the museum. So now, same day I'm there, I can't wait to share the exhibit information. So as I'm about to scroll around a little bit more, let me say that, right, the Ben Cooper costume style was to have the image of the character, be it your Darth Vader or your Han Solo or one of your classic Universal monsters or whatever, what have you. The classic Ben Cooper style would then have the face of the character on the shirt area of the costume. So then we can say I'm in a little bit of not a Sven costume, but a Ben Cooper stylized Sven costume. I'm already feeling the heat. How does Rich Koz do this to have the wig on for the entire production? He's got a lot of mental toughness and training to handle the hat and the wig with the bright lights. Okay, so the next placard there gets into, hang on, I'm sorry. I can't, because it's so often spoken of. Let me zero, here we go. Featuring also the time that the 3D attempt was made on the Creature of the Black Lagoon. So that is also featured in the exhibit. And let me do one more bit here if I can get, there we go. Okay, Sven's over here, Sven's over there, Sven's over here, Sven's over there. Okay, all right. Coming back to the props information. So it's talking about highlighting the coffin, highlighting the set and the music, highlighting the fan-made chicken shield mailed in by an early viewer, forgettable sidekicks, Buddy Sorrell listed. Oh, so it's a lot of good stuff here. Let's say exhibit text from Walter J. Podrazik. So credit to Walter and the whole team there. Exhibit designed and built by Jim Roach, the executive producer, Dave Plyer, who's been associated to WGN TV, Josh Plyer, has to figure that's a relative, and Brian Noonan. So great job, everybody, on putting the exhibit together. Let's get a little video going now. So here we are walking through the actual exhibit. There's images of a little bit of glare, but there's Sven and Billy Corrigan. There's the Svengoolie Stomp video playing in the background. There's some of the old studio. And here, the highlight, one of the great highlights is the coffin with a little raven sitting on top, just like it used to be back in the day. Wanted to get a nice, good visual on the coffin right there, the vintage coffin. And, of course, the Doug Graves keyboard, cardboard image of Sven right there, and the rest of the backdrop of the old set going back to the Fox 32 days and the early WCIU days, the previously shown on MeTV until the new set came into play. These photos were also in the older exhibit in the previous location of the museum, but I thought they're again highlight worthy. And so let me, of course, you will recognize Elvira right there. We'll take another pass. There's Sven and Bozo. I do so love. Okay, so there's early on Rich Koz. Here's Rich Koz and Freddy Krueger. I went by a little quick on that. Rich Koz and Doug Graves. Jim, and I'm not sure who the third person in that picture is. And as we said, Elvira and Bozo. The Bozo exhibit is also really, really interesting and top flight. There's a lot of good stuff here in the Museum of Broadcast Communication. So I definitely wanted to, before Triumph, there was Tombstone doing bits, having a cigar in his mouth, but a lot of great pieces to be able to see at the exhibit. So now that I've gone through all that, let me also in the gift shop, let me come to the backdrop over here. Before which way am I going? Before Rich Koz, before Rich Koz was on, also we used to have on WGN Creature Feature. So I was real happy to get a Creature Feature poster out of the gift shop. Definitely Lon Chaney Sr. from London After Midnight image that WGN had paired with their advertisements and their promotion for Creature Feature for many a year. Okay, let's get to some share screen. And here we go, share screen and share. And let's start at the Museum of Broadcast website. So right there, now open, as it says. Nice, real nice Johnny Carson exhibit, some of Johnny's suits and everything. An interesting compare and contrast of Carson's suits to the exhibit at Paisley Park is what I'm trying to say for Prince in his suits. Late night TV, a little bit of I Dream of Jeannie, definitely Bozo Circus, definitely The Loop, all well featured in a little bit on Saturday Night Live. A lot of great stuff at the museum. Let me come back and flip into the next tab. But let's see, view tab. If I can stop sharing there, come back over here and move on to, as long as we're speaking of museums, today we sit here on November 1st, the day after Halloween. I like to think of it as the after party season for Halloween, but also for one more day. So tomorrow is the final day of the Underground Misadventure exhibit at the Field Museum. So let me just bring that information up also via the share screen. And they temporarily renamed the exhibit from Underground Adventure to Underground Misadventure. So definitely video, besides the exhibit, standard as it is, very appealing, family friendly, but currently also featuring extra Halloween decoration and videos of Sven at different stations within the museum exhibit. Again, if you're in the Chicago area and if you have a free minute on Sunday, November 2, then that is the last day for, as it says right there, Shrink into the Shadows with Svengoolie as your guide. Definitely at least 2, maybe 3 different stations playing brief videos from Svengoolie himself. And there we go. That covers that. And now also, as the feature for tonight is going to be Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Let me jump over to Chris Hamby's Silver Screen blog. Again, Chris acknowledged that and celebrated that he's been 10 years blogging on Svengoolie material, which is a beautiful, long-time commitment. We're appreciative for Chris's contributions to the community and to get good information on the movies at hand right here. Silver Screen Reflections. As he says here, presents the big broadcast going back to 1948, lists links, lists great information, lists the history of the different dates that Sven has aired the movie. Oh, that photo there makes me realize I meant to go pull my picture that I got from Real Art Collectibles, which is now closed also. But they had it's a black and white still of Glenn Strange as Frankenstein, pretend strangling Lou Costello. So anyway, again, please do check out Mr. Hamby's blog because it's always great. And let's see his head count now, his total view count over at Silver Screens. I think it's at 100,000 and 112,979, just around the corner from 113,000. Thanks again, Chris, for all your blogging work. Before we wrap up here, just wanted to again give a few minutes I want to encourage people to get to the museum to check out the Sven exhibit. And as far as the featured movie for tonight, as far as Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, in a lot of ways, this is the most sentimental of all the Sven showings. Sentimental for me on account of, again, I remember being young enough to be scared by it. And as I aged and it wasn't mortifying, horrifying, that scary anymore, I definitely have great memories of being so little to be scared of it, and then still being little but not scared. And then it was definitely a family activity. And just you hear your previous generation speaking of Abbott and Costello and how funny they are, and then you get to see their bits and their I mean, it's just so well done. It's such a one shot only to pool that much talent into the one of the top horror comedies of all time, one of the premier pioneer horror comedies. So super excited the museum's open, super excited to be watching Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein tonight on Sven. Please drop any comments you have in the comments. Thanks for coming by. I hope you had a good Halloween. If you want to mention in the comments, how was your Halloween experience? Did you get any good loot? Are you looking forward to things coming as far as museum exhibits or other Svengoolie shows coming up on MeTV? Thanks, everybody. This has been a Dive In Museum Exhibit Review, and enjoy the movie tonight, and we are out.